Good morning, buongiorno, guten Morgen. It is winter on my side. I have not been outside yet. I am contemplating what that will look like by understanding what I'm going to wear. And once I know what I'm going to wear, it doesn't matter what the weather is outside, it has to be warm. I know it's not the most conventional way to decide what one is going to wear. It should be based on the weather, but nevertheless, I blame it on my years in Italy. We don't dress for the weather, we dress for the season. So I hope you slept well. And what is sleep? Hopefully one day, one of these days, we can talk about that, breaking down sleep. And a good sleep rhythm doesn't mean going to bed at the same time and waking up at the same time. What does it mean? So many questions when it relates to sleep. This is always something, especially with the young people. I find like my older patients just constantly suffer from sleep, but that is like a whole different story. What I find quite interesting is the young people not quite understanding. Although there's so much information on Google, how does that practically look for you in your life? Hopefully we can do that soon. But today, this morning, I read a really interesting quote. So I'm currently reading Man in Babylon. Yes, I am late to reading this book, but what the heck is late when this book has been a bestseller for over 2 centuries? The book is talking from a financial perspective where we're supposed to define our desires in the guidelines of our abilities. Okay, so how trained are you to actually accomplish that? You're aiming to buy a house, but okay, maybe getting a job first would be a good idea, and maybe saving first. Yes, you could do the loan route, but then you need to understand, can you pay the loan off? So that's what this quote is about. But for me, what spoke out to me about that was our ability to refine and define our desires makes us more focused. I know that's not what's written there, but that's what I took from it, and that's what I want to give to you this morning. Not redefine, but rather define, make them definite what you desire, and that alone actually puts you on a step forward towards achieving your goals, towards achieving the vision and the life that you desire. Because we all want so many things, but then where do you start? Okay, you set your goals in the beginning of the year. Say, okay, I want to get fit, but what does fitness really look like? I want to be financially savvy. What does that actually look like? For you, it means having a big fat bank account and driving your favorite car, living in your awesome house. But does that even make sense, in terms of your situation? That's what this is saying, right? But for me, this also then took a different fold in terms of spirituality. I was like, okay, when I have desires, I don't necessarily look at my abilities to accomplish them myself. I mean, that's why I have a God. He said, hey, ask me of anything, I'll give it to you. So I'm like, all right. And what I notice is that as much as I have a lot of desires, when I go to God in prayer, I don't sit there and say, yo, Lord, so, and I go through my list. Nah, because it's a relationship, and just like any relationship, the moment you open your mouth to speak, your speech is refined to the person you're speaking to. And when you're speaking to God, it's a little different from a person because they can give you anything. But it's not a relationship when you're just stating your demands, right? Which means when you open your mouth to pray, to articulate yourself, you actually start thinking about all the things that you desire, and you actually ask God. So you wouldn't go through a whole long list, but you would say, in this list, what am I trying to say? What is my inner need? What am I actually desiring? What's this list after? And that's why I love prayer, besides all the other things about it, is that when you come to God in prayer, you cannot leave the same, in the sense of, yes, I had a whole long list of desires, but immediately when I start praying about this, God starts addressing about, hey, am I actually ready? You're quite reckless, for example. Let's say in prayer about a car or something like that, and a simple example, let's take a car. All right, so you're praying and trusting God for a car, and you can afford it, that's no problem if you just plan, I guess. But then God's not really interested in affordability or your ability to afford as much as he's interested in your heart. And in this process and phase of asking God for a car, his response would be, but like, example, I'm not saying this is what God says, it's an example about our desires, is God says, you haven't been taking good care of your parents' car, for example. You never fill in the tank, you never fill up the tank when you're done, you drive it so recklessly, and when you do bump something, you don't even check it, and now you're asking me for a car because you've proven to be responsible, right? And that's what happens in the process of prayer, is that your desires get refined. And yes, God does seek to fulfill all our desires, but when we pray, when we actually bring our requests to the Lord, he refines and defines our desires, because he's not so much concerned about giving us what we want as much as he's concerned about changing our hearts, making us into the people that he created us to be. Now, this is a choice, right? Just like prayer, you decide to pray because you trust in the God that you're praying to. You trust that he hears you. You trust that he will answer. Sometimes it might not be in the way that you anticipate or in the forms that you anticipate, but one thing God never fails to do is to answer. And sometimes He might be answering by addressing the issue with us. You know, we're expecting a physical something to appear and the situation be different. But God's like, I have a work to do. Your heart's not in the right place. If I had to give that to you, I'll mess everyone else up. And because, you know, you're not the only one that I died for. As much as when I did die on the cross, you were the one on my mind. But so was your sister, your brother, your friend, your colleague, and everyone else. And that's why it's quite important to pray, because it defines and refines you and your desires and everything you hope for. And going back to this before we go deep in the morning, my thing to you, my take home for you today is, as you go through your day, consider the things that you're striving for, consider the things that you're hoping to accomplish. Ask yourself if these desires of mine are still in alignment with my bigger vision, or have I got caught up in the chase that I don't even know what I'm chasing anymore. It's really, 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 really so easy to get up in the morning and keep chasing, because yeah, that's what I decided a couple of years ago, because I had this and this goals, and maybe I did achieve them, and I'm living in the reality of my goals. But because I'm not conscious about all the things I do, I don't realize that I've already got the answer and it's already happening. So yes, that is my pick you up quote and pick you up motivation for this morning, is that consider your desires and consider all the things that you're striving for, and ask yourself, is the cost still worth the desire, or does the desire need to be redefined and defined a little? Or have you become such a scatterbrain about all your desires that you actually don't really know what you desire? So hey, think about it. Until the next time, think about it, give some thoughts. And a song to help you along in this thinking, a song by Austin Crowns, It's Just Be Held. It talks about how we have so many things that we're holding on to in the hope of being held. But then it says, you know, just surrender, let go of the things that you don't know, let go of the things that you can't, and trust that God is holding your hand, God is holding your heart, and then He's looking after you, and that things are gonna be okay. Yeah, that's my message to you. Things are gonna be okay. If it's a tough period, hey, it's a period. It's not the end. So hang in there, keep your smile up, because at the end of the day, this is our life. There are no do-overs, there are no repeats, there are no pauses, there are no do-overs. So make sure you make every moment count, because you deserve it. You know, you fought a lot to be here. You went through a lot to also get here. So be proud of yourself. Make yourself proud by giving your best in everything, like today. So have a good one. Until next time, ciao.